Alrighty. Alrighty. So I'll just update that or upload that later. Um, let's get this going here. And we'll go with KingJamesBible.org. Right. Now that, that. All right. So all praise to the Most High. Today we're going to talk about how to keep the Passover, right? So for those of us keeping our first Passover, take good notes, man. And for those of us, who are accustomed to Passover, we're still gonna need to take good notes because, I mean, I wrote this lesson, I put this together, and I still don't remember all the scriptures on the Passover. I love the Passover time and the Passover lesson because it's an amazing time to reflect on the year that has passed and to begin to remove the leaven out of our lives. Now, there's a brother, I can't remember his name, Matatawa, I believe is his name. He does a lot of outreach work, try to wake up the saints on the continent of Africa. And you know, um, at the New Year, the new moon that happened this week, he was just talking about how, yeah, Passover is coming up and it's good to begin to take the leaven out of our lives. Now we know, the leaven has to be taken out of our houses by essentially the 14th, or the 13th, really, if we want to be ahead of time. And that's physical leaven, as in yeast and yeast products. We got to take it out of our house. Passover is also called the Feast of Unleavened Bread because the morning right after Passover is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and for 7 days we only eat things without yeast. So we're taking out the actual leaven, but we're also taking out the spiritual leaven, right? So, sins that you've been struggling with, right? There's a good strategy from the Most High. Take it out of your house, right? Remove it from your presence completely, right? Because that 7 days oftentimes will help you to form new habits. And I definitely will be following this particular advice that comes straight from the Most High to remove the leaven out of my life. You understand what I'm saying? Especially, as the Feast of Unleavened Bread is coming up. Um, so, I'm really happy to basically be focused on this at this particular time, and I encourage you guys to focus on the same, right? So, without further ado, let's get into it. We'll go to our first scripture, which is Exodus chapter 12. Exodus chapter 12, we'll read 21 and then we'll read 26 to 27. It says, Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. Right? Let's go down to 26 and 27. It says, And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, What mean ye by this service? Okay? So when your children ask you, Hey, what is this whole thing about the Passover? We're in the intro, by the way. What's this whole thing about the Passover? This is what you're going to say. That ye shall say in verse 27, It is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, right? You're going to say that it is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshiped, right? So what do we mean by this service? What is this Passover all about? Well, it's the Lord's Passover, Yahweh's Passover, right? Who did what? He passed over the houses of the children of Israel, meaning he skipped us, right? In Egypt, this is very significant because we're in spiritual Egypt right now, right? And then he smote the Egyptians. He killed the Egyptians, man. Just like in this time, the Most High is going to destroy these Egyptians. In fact, he's already destroying them over there in World War III. That's heating up right now, right? And he's going to kill them right before our very eyes in the places where we live here in spiritual Egypt, right? And he's going to deliver our houses once again, right? So what ought we to do? The people ought to bow their head and worship, right? Give thanks to the Most High and take some private time today. Give thanks and praise unto the Most High for that. We ourselves will be getting into a song service after this service is done. If you guys want to join us, let us know. I mean, it's not much to hear because we're not, you know, choir people or anything, but and but we do our thing. The spirit is there, right? So if you want to join us for that, all praise to the Most High. Um, what else, right? What else do we need to know as an introduction to this, right? So we know we're celebrating this because the Most High delivered us from our enemies, man, the Egyptians, in Egypt, the first time that we were there. What else do we need to know? This is Deuteronomy 16 from verse 1. It says, observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto Yahweh thy God. So this month of Abib started to be called Nisan because Nisan starts at the same time as Abib. Okay. For the month of, look it up. For in the month of Abib, Yahweh thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Okay. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto Yahweh thy God of the flock and the herd in the place which Yahweh shall choose to place his name there. Right? This is very important. Where are we sacrificing the Passover? In the place that the Most High choose to place his name there. And we're going to get into this again. We're probably going to revisit this scripture before the lesson's done. It says, thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith. Even the bread of what? Affliction, man. Right? So we got to make a sacrifice, you know, after this Passover, man. From the morning of this Passover, the morning after the Passover, we got to start eating the bread of affliction. Because that's the bread that Yahweh Shai ate, man, the bread of affliction, right? So we are putting ourselves ritualistically through the same process of self-denial that Yahweh Shai went through, man. You know, it says in the New Testament we can't share in the glory if we didn't share in the suffering. He tell you any man don't pick up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. So during this Passover, it's a very serious thing. You got to be diligent about removing that actual physical leaven from your life. You got to be diligent about not eating leaven, right? So you can put yourself through the same process that Yahweh Shai put himself through, man, right? To save us, right? So you can carry your cross and be worthy of the calling. It says, for thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, right? That thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt, all the days of thy life, man, right? So the Most High want us to remember, hey, we came out of bondage in a hurry, man, and He wants us to remember that all the days of our lives, right? And you're gonna see that reflected in the ordinances and the way that the Passover is kept, right? So let's review the ordinances of the Passover, right? Let's go to Second Chronicles, and we'll go to chapter 33. Second Chronicles, chapter 33. Uh, what is this thing? Chapter 33. Um, okay. Now we'll read verse 1 and we'll read verse 16. Verse 1, it says, Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 50 and 5 years in Jerusalem, right? Verse 16 is about Manasseh. And he repaired the altar of Yahweh and sacrificed thereon peace offerings and thank offerings, and commanded Judah to serve Yahweh, God of Israel, right? Nevertheless, the people did sacrifice still in high places, yet unto Yahweh their God only. Hold on a second here. It's Second Chronicles. Let me see if this is First Chronicles. 1 second. Nope. Just give me a second. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Give me one quick second here. Is that 30 and 16? That's 30 and 16. I don't know what happened there. Second Chronicles chapter 30. And Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah, and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh, that they should come to the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto Yahweh, God of Israel. Okay? So Hezekiah sent to what? All Israel, which is the northern kingdom, and Judah, the southern kingdom, that they need to come to Israel, excuse me, to keep the Passover. All right? It says, and they stood in a place after their manner, according to the law of Moses, the man of Yahweh, man. The priest sprinkled the blood which they received of the hand of the Levites. All right. And what was happening here? Then they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the second month. And the priests, it says the second month here because if you're on a journey or you're unclean, you can keep the Passover in the second month. All right. And the priests and the Levites were ashamed because they were not clean in the first month, and sanctified themselves and brought in the burnt offerings into the house of Yahweh. Okay. And then they stood there and did everything. Here's the point, according to the law of Moses. All right. So there are ordinances for the Passover. We can't just do the Passover anyhow you feel like. The first ordinance here, if you guys notice, is it says you got to keep the Passover in Jerusalem, right? The second ordinance is that, hey, listen, you keep it according to the laws of Moses. All right. We're going to get more into that. Let's go to Exodus 12 and verse 16. What kind of day is the Passover? Exodus 12, 16. It says, and in the, uh, let's go from, let's get the context. A 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. He shall take it from the sheep, from the goats, and he shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorposts of the house wherein they shall eat it. Okay, what festival is this talking about? Right? This is talking about the Passover. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread. See that? And with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs, and the purtenance thereof. Going down to 12. I'll go from 11. And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover. All right. It is Yahweh's Passover. What kind of day is this? Uh, let's see here. It says, for I will pass to the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am Yahweh. All right. Um, I am Yahweh. Down in uh what do I want here? All right, 15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. This is still talking about the Passover. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. The first day is the 14th day at even. That's when we kill the Passover, right? That day is a Shabbat, the 15th of the month. The 14th day at even is the 15th, which is a Shabbat. It says, for whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be, is what I wanted, a holy convocation. All right? A holy convocation. All right? And in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So, what kind of day is the Passover? It is a holy convocation, a Sabbath, right? Let's look at who can eat the. Um, let's look at who can eat the Passover, and of course, this is backed up in Leviticus 23. Let's look at who can eat the Passover. We'll stay in Exodus 12. We'll read verse 48. It says, "And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof." You hear that? So who can eat the Passover? Well, the person must be circumcised. No stranger can eat the Passover, okay? And no uncircumcised person can eat the Passover. Now, does that mean that you gotta go, cut the skin off, your privates, man? No, right? Let's see what it means. Let's go to First Corinthians 7 and 19. And brothers, let me know if any of y'all can read, um, because I'd love to share out the scripts here. First Corinthians 7:19. First Corinthians 7:19. It says, "Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of Yahweh." All right. So when circumcision was instated, it was already said that uh, a prophet is going to come that will circumcise the foreskin of your heart. Okay. It was already about, it was just a physical sign of a spiritual state already. And there was already a time, it was already finite. All right. Um, Let me see if I can get this here. I might already have it there. Yep, I do. Deuteronomy 10:16. Deuteronomy 10:16. I'll go from 15. "Only Yahweh had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you, above all people, uh, as it is this day." Okay? So, anyway, circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, man, and be no more stiff-necked, right? That goes hand in hand with what the Most High just said in the New Testament, right? Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments. And then what he says here in 16, "Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart," meaning your mind, right? Renew your mind, Romans 12:2. "And be no more stiff-necked." Don't just do your own thing anymore, but listen to and live according to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. All right. And this is in Deuteronomy. Moses is telling the people this. Okay. The same man that was circumcised in their flesh. He already understood that this was not really about the circumcision of your flesh, but about the circumcision of your heart. That's why the Most High say, "Ain't no uncircumcised person can't eat this thing." Right. Right.
Hey, brother, peace to you, man. I could read for you if you need me to.
All right, peace out. That would be absolutely awesome, man. Is that my guy, Aklaha, man?
Yes, sir. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. Welcome to the class, brother. Welcome to the
Peace to
class,
you.
man. So
Peace to the
so good to
family.
have you.
Peace to the nation.
Yeah, greet everybody greet Brother Lahag, please.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings to the family. Peace and blessings to the nation. Shabbat shalom.
That's it.
Shalom, brother.
Peace, peace, peace. Peace, sis.
That's it. So we're gonna go to Second Chronicles 30, and we'll read 80, and we'll read 25.
Second Chronicles 30.
18. Yeah, I said 80. 18. Second Chronicles, yeah, Second Chronicles 30.
Yes, yes, 30.
30.
Okay, verse 18.
Yeah, we'll read 18 and we'll read also 25.
Okay, kind. Book of Second Chronicles, chapter 30 and verse 18. And it reads, For a multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Issachar and Zebulun, had not cleansed themselves, yet did they eat the Passover otherwise than it was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, The good Lord pardon everyone.
Right.
You want
Go
me to keep
ahead.
going or jump straight to 25?
Yeah, jump straight to 25.
Okay, verse 25. And all the congregation of Judah with the priests and the Levites and all the congregation that came out of Israel and the strangers that came out of the land of Israel and that dwelt in Judah rejoiced.
Sorry, read on from 18. My bad.
Okay, verse 19. That prepares his heart to seek God, the Lord God of his fathers, though he be not cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary. And the Lord hearkened to Hezekiah and healed the people. And the children of Israel that were present at Jerusalem kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with great gladness. And the Levites and the priests praised the Lord day by day, singing with loud instruments unto the Lord. And Hezekiah spake comfortably unto all the Levites that taught the good knowledge of the Lord. And they did eat throughout the feast 7 days, offering peace offerings and making confession to the Lord, God of their fathers. And the whole assembly took counsel to keep other 7 days, and they kept other 7 days with gladness. For Hezekiah, king of Judah, did give the congregation 1,000 bullocks and 7,000 sheep, and the princes gave to the congregation 1,000 bullocks and 10,000 sheep, and a great number of priests sanctified themselves, and all the congregation of Judah with the priests and the Levites, and all the congregation that came out of Israel, and the strangers that came out of the land of Israel, and that dwelt in Judah rejoiced.
Hold up, hold up, hold up. And what? And all the congregation of Judah.
All the congregation that came out of Israel, and the strangers that came out of the land of Israel, and
Mm-hmm.
that dwelt in Judah rejoiced.
Right. So were there strangers there keeping the Passover or not?
They say strangers.
There was strangers there keeping the Passover, right? And we just read where the Most High said, listen, no stranger can eat of this Passover unless they be circumcised, right? So that was just an extra proof there to show that, listen, man, strangers were there keeping the Passover, not sad and, bereft, not sad and beaten down and oppressed, but they rejoiced, man, with the nation keeping the Passover, right?
Right.
So they were there, but they were circumcised, right? And at that time, in flesh and in heart, right? Okay. So who else can keep the Passover? Clean people. Let's go to Numbers 9. And we'll read 6 to 8.
All right, it's the book of Numbers, chapter 9, verse 6. And it reads, And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron that day. And those men said unto him, We are defiled by the dead body of a man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we might not offer an offering of the Lord in his appointed season among the children of Israel? And Moses
Right?
said unto them, Stand still, and I will hear what the Lord will command concerning you.
Right. So 1 second. So the brothers came and they asked, they said, hey, listen, we're defiled by the dead body of a man, which would make you unclean, right? The touching a dead body would make you unclean until the even. So these guys are like, hey, listen, man, we're unclean, right? We were defiled by the dead body of a man. Therefore, are we kept back, right, from making an offering to the Most High, all right, in his appointed season? Right? The appointed season is on the 14th day at even, right? So they asked. And Moses said, hey, listen, wait right here. I'm gonna go ask the Most High what's going on, whether or not, you guys can keep it as normal or not, right? Let's go to uh tu- 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 tu. We might want to keep reading. Keep reading.
Fine. Verse 9. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If any man of you or of your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord. The
So
14th day.
so stop right there. The
Uh,
Most High said, hey, listen, if you miss the Passover because you're unclean by reason of a dead body or you're on a faraway journey, you still have to keep the Passover. But here's how you're gonna do it. Go ahead.
verse 11. The 14th day of the second month at even they shall keep it, and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs.
You see that? So you're still gonna keep the Passover if you're unclean, but you're gonna keep the Passover in the second month because you already missed the first Passover, right? So you got to be clean to keep the Passover, ceremonially clean to keep the Passover, right? Um, let's go to Second Chronicles 30 and 17. Now we were just there a second ago, but I want to highlight that verse there in 17. Go ahead.
Let me get there. Book of Second Chronicles, chapter 30, and what verse did you say?
17.
Okay, verse 17. For there were many in the congregation that were not sanctified. Therefore the Levites had the charge of the killing of the Passovers for everyone that was not clean, to sanctify them unto the Lord.
See that? Right? So what do you call it? The people that were not clean, not able to kill the Passover because of the uncleanliness of their hands, right? Ceremonially, what happened? The Levites, okay, the priests killed the Passover for them in order to sanctify them unto Yahweh, right? Now watch this. Go ahead. 18.
Verse 18. For a multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Issachar and Zebulun, had not cleansed themselves. Yet did they eat the Passover otherwise than it was written. But
You see that?
Hezekiah
Hold on,
prayed for
hold
them.
on, hold on. Otherwise than it was written. So these people that were unclean, and it said the Levites killed the Passover in order to sanctify them. Were they supposed to eat the Passover?
No.
No, they were supposed to eat the Passover in the second month, right? But we were just coming back together to keep this after a long time. So the people kept it and it was off, man, right? And so what happened, brother?
Um, but
Hezekiah,
Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, The good Lord pardon everyone.
see that? So Hezekiah prayed that the Most High would pardon them because they didn't do it right, right? They were unclean and they still ate the Passover, right? And so Hezekiah prayed for them that the Most High would pardon them for this trespass, right? So, you know, according to the ordinance, keeping the Passover, we're supposed to keep the Passover clean, being ceremonially clean, right? And we know what makes you ceremonially unclean. Fluids, fluids of a man, fluids of a woman. We know the dead body. What else? A couple other things. What else am I missing? Fluid of a man, fluid of a woman, dead body, dung. Um, that's all I can come up with right now, right? If you have anything, feel free to shout it out, right? But these are some of the things that make you unclean. Okay?
Touching unclean animals, certain
Yeah,
carcasses of unclean animals.
that's right. Carcasses of unclean animals. That's right. Right. We're gonna look at a couple of things. Let's go to Leviticus 15:16. Right? For some of the things that make you unclean. Go ahead.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 15 and verse 16. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the even.
Right? So your seed of copulation, if that goes out, you wash all your flesh and water and you're unclean until the even. Right? So if your seed of copulation goes out from you on that day, you can't eat the Passover, man. You know? Um, you got to keep it in the second month, right? Let's go to Ezekiel 36 and 17. Ezekiel 36 and 17. Now, I mean, that day being a Shabbat, your seed of copulation shouldn't be going out of you anyway, right? But, some men, the scriptures talk about in the book of Leviticus, if a man have a running issue, right? From his privates, that's able to make the man unclean as well. So that may happen on that particular day, and if that's what it is, you can't eat the Passover. You gotta go to the second month. Go ahead.
Book of
Ezekiel 36
Ezekiel,
and 17.
36 and verse 17, and it reads, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman.
Can you explain that, brother Lahag? What is the uncleanliness of a removed woman?
This could be coming from her monthly cycle
Right?
in which she's supposed to be removed. If you go back to Leviticus 15 and 19, um, she's supposed to be removed from the camp and or congregation or ceremonial settings
Yeah,
during the time of her uncleanliness.
that's it. And let me bring that out. This is Leviticus 15:19. It says, and if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days. And whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the even. Right? All right. So those are some of the things that will make you unclean. One more. Sirach 13 and 1.
My favorite book right here.
That's awesome.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 13 and verse 1. He that touches pitch shall be defiled therewith, and he that has fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him.
Right. Let's see here.
So pride makes you unclean as well, it looks like.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. And that's important, right? Because when we just started, we spoke about removing the leaven from your house physically, but also removing the leaven from your mind, your heart. You understand? Spiritually as well, removing that leaven, sins that you're struggling with, right? Removing that before you come keep the Most High's Passover. right? Because later he's going to talk about keeping the Passover in an unworthy manner, and how if you do that, you're eating and drinking death and destruction upon yourself, you know? So that's a good point, Brother Lahag, that pride, is going to defile you, or defiles you, you know? And
Wow.
and of course, touching pitch would be what, Brother Lahag?
Touching pitch.
Yeah,
I believe that's dung.
that is dung, brother. That is
Uh,
dung. So that's just the scriptures to prove what we're bringing out, concerning, touching dung and all of these things. Okay. Uh, all right. So let's talk a little bit about when to keep the Passover. All right. And that's Deuteronomy 16:1. Right. We touched on it a little bit with keeping it in the second month if you're unclean and that sort of thing. But according to the law of Moses, which is how we're supposed to regularly keep the Passover, when is it to be kept? Deuteronomy 16:1.
and it reads, "Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night."
Right. So keep the Passover in the month of Abib. So when and then it says, for in the month of Abib, the Most High brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt by night. Okay, so when is Abib? Abib is the first month. That's Exodus 12:1. Go ahead.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 12, and
1 and
verse
2.
1. And it reads, "And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you."
Right. So this month, which month shall be unto
Yeah.
you? Yep. Says this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year unto you. So let's find out which month the Most High is talking about. We know it's Abib, but we got to prove that. Okay, so when's the first month? Uh, the first month is in spring. How do we know? Let's go to John 10 and we'll read verse 22.
The book of John, chapter 10, verse 22, and it reads, "And it was at Jerusalem the feast of dedication, and it was winter."
All right. So, Yahweh Shai was there in winter, and it was the feast of dedication. Read 23 as well.
And Yahushua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
Right. Now, this feast of dedication, it says it was winter during this feast of dedication, right? So we know when winter is, in when we look around us, right? We know after summer comes the fall, and then after the fall comes the winter. So Yahweh Shai, after the fall had passed, was at the feast of dedication, walking through Solomon's porch. Okay. So which month, according to our calendar, was the feast of dedication in? Let's go to First Maccabees 4.
Hey, Shalom, bro. I can read too also if you need.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we'll do First Maccabees 4. We'll go from 49 to 56. 1 second. And then what do you call it? Brother Chris, you can pull up Esther 3 and 7.
Okay, got it.
Okay, go ahead, Brother Lahad.
First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 49. "That they made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick and the altar of burnt offerings and of incense and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted." that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is
Oh,
called the month Caslu,
right.
in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals.
Right.
Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. And
Mm-hmm.
so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise.
Right. So they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days with burnt offerings, great gladness, and sacrifice. When? In what month?
The 9th month, which is called Caslu.
They did it in the 9th month, which is called Caslu. Now give me verse 59.
Verse 59. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness.
Right. So dedication was on the 25th day of the 9th month. All right. So Purim, our last feast of the year. So that's in the 9th month, the feast of dedication. That's winter. All right. Purim, our last feast of the year, it says is in the 12th month called Adar. Let's look at that. Esther um chapter 3 and verse 7, and then we'll want Second Maccabees 15:36 after that, Brother Lahab.
All right.
So let's go to Esther 3 first, verse 7, and then we'll go to Second Maccabees 15:36. Esther 3. Give me a second here. What's going on here? Where's Esther? Esther 3.
After Nehemiah would be.
Yeah, got it. All right, let's go.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 3, and verse number 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus,
Right?
they cast pure, that is the lot, before Haman, from day to day and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar.
Okay, right? So our last feast is in the 12th month. That is the month Adar. Okay, that's when we ordained to have Purim, which is the lot. Okay, um, that feast of the lot, right? And as we looked at, uh, really that feast is about the lot that the Most High cast upon the enemies of Israel to be destroyed, man. When they really thought they were casting a lot for us to be destroyed, the King of Kings had apportioned them destruction, right? Including Haman and his whole house, right? So the point here being again, the sorry, in the first month of Nisan, in the first month, Nisan, in the 12th year, what? Oh, they cast it from the first to the 12th month. There we go, which is the month Adar. All right, that's what I wanted there. They cast it until the 12th month, which is the month Adar. All right, all right, and it's in Adar that we got the victory um, over Haman and our enemies that wanted to destroy us. All right, uh, let's just prove that here. I think I want Esther 9. Give me a second. 1 second. Bear with me here. Okay, I'll read here from verse 18. It says, "But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar, which is the 12th month, a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish, meaning establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning to a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions to one another, and gifts to the poor. Okay, this was all done when? In the 13th day of the month Adar, and also the 14th day of the month Adar, which is the 12th month. All right. Brother Lahag, you have Second Maccabees?
Yep, 15 and 36.
Yeah. 1 second, let me just get there.
All right.
Go ahead.
And it reads, and they ordained all with a common decree in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day.
Right, the day before Mordecai's day. All right. And this is the destruction of Nicanor, okay, which is the day before Mordocius' day, and it is in the 12th month. There's a third witness. It's in the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar. So we have winter in the 9th month, right? Um, Winter here in Canada is basically, I would say what? Let's just look it up. When does winter start in Canada? All right, so they have an official date here, December 21st. Let me see what it says in the US. When does winter start in USA?
I think
Okay,
it's like
so
December.
December. So we have December, January, February, what do you call it? Uh March. So they have 4 months here, right? Thursday, March 25th, right? So if we're just comparing the Feast of Dedication, Yahweh Shai has that in the winter. Then in the 12th month, the year's not done yet, right? The year's not done yet. In the 12th month, we do Adar. And then in the first month, uh, which is Abib, we have the Passover, right? So these guys have what? December 21st. Really, it's 3 months, right? Because if we look here, December 21st to March 20th, right? December 21st to November 21st, that would be 1 month. November to December, so Hemi, December to January, 1 month. January to February, 2 months. February to uh February to March, 3 months. That's 3 months. You see what I'm saying? So even in this time, the winter is really 3 months. So we got Yahweh Shai doing a dedication. Then we got 3 months after, our sister doing and Brother Mordocius doing what do you call it? Purim. And then right after that is the new year, right? So what would be the new year? The new year would be, well, after March the 20th, according to these people's reckoning, right? After winter, we know if we take out all the dates from the calendar, we know after winter is one season, and that season is spring, right? So my point here is this: after our 12th month was our first month. So our first month would have to be in the spring. Our first month would have to be in the spring after the winter, right? That's how we kept it, right? So let's see here. So when are we keeping the Passover? We're keeping the Passover in the spring. That's when we're keeping the Passover. Not in the middle of winter. We're keeping the Passover in the spring. Okay. So when to select the lamb? Let's go to Exodus 12. Right? And give me from verse 3 to verse 6. Is that who's up? Is it Brother Chris or Brother Lahad?
It don't matter.
It
Either
don't
one of
matter to
us.
me. Yeah, you pick who
Okay.
you want to read. I got it here, Exodus 12 and what?
12 from 3 to 6. And Brother Lahag, you can give me numbers 9.
Got you.
All right. So when to select the lamb? Go ahead.
Okay. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse number 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
Right. So when do you select the lamb?
In the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb. So
Right.
in the 10th day.
That's right. So in the 10th day of Abib, the first month in spring, we are supposed to take out a lamb. All right. Choose a lamb. Right. Here you'd have to buy your lamb. Right. Buy your lamb, on the 10th day of the month. Right. Verse 5 says, take it from what? This
Your
is just
lamb
a
shall
side
be
point.
without blemish, a
It's
male of the first year. You shall take it out of the sheep or from the goats.
So can you eat a goat for Passover?
Yes. It says you can take it from the sheep or from the goats.
That's right. Right. That's just a little side point there. It doesn't have to be a sheep. It can also be goat. All right.
You can eat bullock as well too.
Say again.
You can eat bullock as well.
We can select bullock for. I know we can eat it, but for the Passover ordinance, right? Is there a place that it says that the bullock can be used for the Passover ordinance, as far as roasting with fire and not breaking the bone and so on and so forth?
Is it not for breaking the bone? In the first, when Josiah kept his feast in First Esdras chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
First Esdras chapter 1. I'm trying to see because they cooked up.
Yeah, I
They
know
cooked
about
up
that one.
lamb
I know
blood.
I know they cooked up something nice. Look at it though, and have a look. And
I'm
see.
trying to see where it said where they cooked everything.
I think it's lower down in
Oh,
there.
verse. Looks like verse 7.
Hold up.
7, 8 on down.
Okay. Let's see. So it's according to, and unto the people that was found where found there, Josiah gave 30,000 lambs and kids, 3,000 calves. These things were given of the king's allowance, according as he promised to the people, to the priests, and to the Levites. Right? Keep
Mm.
going.
Well, a calf is a bullock. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I know
It's
that.
of the cow family.
Yep, I
But
know
yeah,
that.
you can
But
keep going.
yeah, it says, and Hilkiah, Zacharias, and Silas, the governors of the temple, gave to the priests for the Passover 2,600 sheep and 300 calves, right?
Yep.
And Jeconiah and Somias and Nathaniel his brother and Asabias and Okiel and Joram, captains over thousands, gave to the Levites for the Passover 5,000 sheep and 700 calves. Okay, so a couple of things here. Uh, let's see here. I won't find this with the interlinear. I will not find this for the interlinear. But what do you call it? Now, again, I know from where exactly is that scripture, man? I know that we killed the Passover, we roasted the Passover, the sheep and the goats, and I know we um oh, let me find it. Hold on. I know that we enjoyed the other foods with a good savor. All right. Let me see if I can find it. Just give me a quick second here. Because I think uh the um the ordinances for the sheep and the goats. But the other offerings, which would be those calves, are for the other food, right? 1 second. I knew it was one. Okay, it's First Ezra's 1. Let's go down to 12. And they roasted the Passover with fire as appertaineth. Yeah? Let's as appertaineth. As for the sacrifices, they sawed them in brass pots and pans with a good savor. You see that? And
Mm.
this is in the same chapter that they gave them the lambs and they also gave them the calves, right? So from my study, what I see is the Passover being um, done with the sheep and the goats, and the food cooked up with a good savor being the calves. Do you see that or not really?
No, I see that.
All praises. All right, so let's hop back here. Where were we at? We were in I think it's Exodus 12.
Uh, I think he was in Numbers next, but
Yeah,
uh,
I think we just wrapped up, yeah, with the sheep and
Yeah,
the
I just
goats.
finished. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, Exodus
So
12 is what I finished reading.
That's right. That's right. So how and when to kill the Passover? Bring out verse 6 for me, please, brother Chris, and then brother Lahag will look at numbers 9. So
Okay.
now we're looking
Uh,
at how and when to kill the Passover. Go ahead.
This is Exodus 12 and verse number 6. And he shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
Right. Now, according to the ordinance, that's what we're supposed to do. We're also supposed to kill it in Israel, right? None of that can happen, right? Because we're in captivity. All right. And I also have a precept where the Most High says, hey, you can't just go killing this lamb anywhere you feel like. You gotta bring it to Jerusalem. You understand? And so, we're gonna look at the fact that in this time we gotta offer spiritual sacrifices pleasing unto the Most High, and we're gonna look at what that looks like, what those spiritual sacrifices look like according to the word. Um, but this is for your knowledge of the exact ordinances to be followed, right? That needed to be followed and that were mostly followed in order to keep the Passover of the Most High. So all the congregation shall kill it in the evening of the 14th day. Okay, so the 14th day at even would be the 15th day, which would be a Shabbat, right? So that being said, let us go to Numbers 9. How and when should we kill the Passover?
okay, what verse did you want at?
Verse 12.
All right, it's the book of Numbers, chapter 9 and verse 12. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it. According to all the ordinances of the Passover, they shall keep it.
Right. So none of the bones of the Passover uh were to be broken when it was killed. All right. Now, we obviously see that says you got to eat it all the same night, but that's not what we're looking at right now. Just put that in your mind as a mental note. It's all supposed to be eaten. And if it can't be eaten all in the same night, you burn it. You don't eat it. You don't leave leftovers for tomorrow. Okay. And none of the bones were to be broken. All right. And the Most High is careful to say, according to all the ordinances of the Passover, they shall keep it. So don't break those bones, man. Do not break the bones of the lamb. All right, as much as it is, as much as possible. Um, you know, in our limited circumstances. Let's go to Exodus 12:46. Brother Chris, give me Exodus 12:46, and Brother Lahag, you can pull up Joshua 5:10.
Uh,
Okay. This is Exodus 12 and verse number 46.
Give me a second. Let me just get there.
Yep.
Go ahead.
This is Exodus 12 and 46. Chapter 12 and verse number 46. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall you break a bone thereof.
Right. So you're not, as a side note, you're not taking, some of the Passover and bringing it to, Brother
Your
Sean,
auntie's house.
yeah, or or Auntie Irene, that's my aunt. That's the first name that came to mind. I'm not taking it to Auntie Irene's house. You understand? It's being eaten in one house. All right, we're not bringing nobody portions. Okay, this is not Purim. All right, we're not bringing nobody portions. Okay, and of course, that's the precept, um, a precept for not breaking the bone of the animal as well. Right. So let's look at where to keep the Passover, and we'll go to Joshua 5:10.
It's the book of Joshua, chapter 5 and verse 10. And it
Give me,
reads, "And the children of
give me a
Israel."
minute. Give me a minute. Give me a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
Yeah. You get, yeah, man, you guys are on it. I'm killing myself here, giving you guys the scriptures ahead of time. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you argue that.
Go ahead.
All right, verse 10. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho.
Right. So where to keep the Passover? Well, it said, hey, listen, man, these guys kept the Passover in the plains of Jericho. And it's important to note that at that time, the temple was not yet established. So that's why they kept the Passover in the plains of Jericho, man, at that particular time. Now let's go to Numbers 9:5. Give me that, brother Chris, Numbers 9:5. Go ahead whenever you're ready. If you're speaking, you're on mute. And Brother Lahag, you can pull up Deuteronomy 12 in the meantime.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, this is the book of Numbers, chapter 9 and verse number 5. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that Yahweh commanded Moses. So did the children of Israel.
Right. So they kept the Passover in the plains of Jericho. They also kept the Passover in the wilderness of Sinai. Now let's see what the Most High says when we get to the book of Deuteronomy, right? And chapter 12, right? Give me verse 5 and 6. Wait, hold on. Go from one to go from 1 to 6.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, starting from the top. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land, which the Lord God of thy fathers giveth thee to possess it, all the days that ye live upon the earth.
Right?
Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods upon the high mountains, and upon the hills, and under every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their altars, and break their pillars, and burn their groves with fire. And ye
Mm-hmm.
shall hew down the graven images of their God, and destroy the names of them out of that place. Ye shall not do so unto the Lord your God,
Right?
but unto the place which the Lord your God shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there.
Mm-hmm.
Even unto his habitation shall ye seek, and thither thou shalt come. And
Right?
thither you shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifices and your tithes and heave offerings of your hand
Mm-hmm.
and your vows and your
Mm-hmm.
freewill offerings and the
Mm-hmm.
firstlings of your herds and of your flocks.
Right? So the Most High said, hey, listen, the place that the Most High choose, he said, don't go on all of these groves and these altars and by these pillars and burn those things down, destroy those things. Okay. And the place I choose to put my name there, that's where you're going to bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, right? Remember, the scriptures say this is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover. So the Passover is a sacrifice and the Passover is a burnt offering, right? It says your tithes, bring it to that particular place, your heave offering, your vow, your free will offering, the firstling of your herd and your flocks. And what did he say to do in that place where he chose to put his name there? Give me verse 7. Aklahag, if you're speaking, you're on mute. Bro, if you're talking, you're on mute and we can't hear you. All right, I'll bring it down. It says, and there you shall eat before Yahweh your God, and you shall rejoice in all that you put your hand unto to do, you and your households, wherein Yahweh thy God have blessed thee. So in the same place that he chose to put his name there, that's where you're going to eat before Yahweh your God, and you shall rejoice in all that you put your hand to. Okay? Now watch what he says in verse 8. You shall not do after all the things that we do here this day. Every man whatsoever is right in his eyes. Right? For it says, for you are not yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which Yahweh your God giveth you. That's why we were doing it in that's why we did it in these other particular places. Okay, we had not yet come into the rest, Jericho and Sinai. Okay, it says, but when you go over Jordan and dwell in the land which Yahweh your God giveth you to inherit, and when he giveth you rest from all your enemies round about, so that you may dwell in safety, sorry, then there shall be a place which Yahweh your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall you bring all that I command you, your burnt offering, your sacrifices, your tithes, the heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow unto Yahweh. Okay, so the Most High say, hey, once you go into that land, the place I choose to put my name there, that's where you're gonna bring your sacrifices, like the Passover, okay, your burnt offerings, and so on and so forth, right? He's very specific. Said, bring those things there. 17 and 18. He said, thou mayest not eat within thy gates the tithe of thy corn, or of thy wine, or of thy oil, or the firstlings of thy herds, or of thy flock, or any of the vows which thou vowest, nor thy freewill offerings or heave offerings of thy hand. Okay, that's fine, because we're not making these offerings. We're not doing these works of the law. All right. It says, but thou must eat them before Yahweh thy God in the place which Yahweh thy God shall choose. Thou and thy son and thy daughter and thy manservant and thy maidservant and the Levite that is within thy gate, and shall rejoice before Yahweh thy God in all that thou puttest unto thy hands unto. Okay. Let's go down to 21. It says, and I'll go from 21, I'll read to 29. It says, if the place which Yahweh thy God choose to put his name there be too far for thee, then thou shalt kill of thy herd and of thy flock, which Yahweh giveth thee as I have commanded thee, and thou shalt eat it in thy gates, whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. So the ordinance is to bring it to Jerusalem, but if it's too far, the Most High say, hey, these offerings, these particular offerings, eat them in your house. Okay. Now notice he didn't mention the Passover. He didn't mention the sacrifice, or the burnt offering. All right. He didn't. He mentioned where's the one I was just at here? He mentioned the one second. Thou mayest not eat within thy gates the tithe of thy corn or of thy wine, thy oil, firstlings of the herds, flocks, um, any of the vows which thou vowest, freewill offerings or heave offerings of thy hand. All right. You can't eat those in your gates. And then he goes on to say, in verse 13, take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offering in every place that thou seest, but in the place which Yahweh shall choose in one of thy tribes, there thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee. Okay. Normal food, verse 15, you can sacrifice and eat in your house. Okay. But the Most High burnt offerings, you gotta bring it to the place. All right. Verse 11, then there shall be a place which Yahweh your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall you bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, the heave offerings of your hand, all your choice vows, which ye vow unto Yahweh. So this is why he says, don't do these things at your house, because you're supposed to bring them to Jerusalem. All right. A second here. I'll go from 22. I'll go from 23. I'll go from 21. If the place which Yahweh thy God have chosen to put his name there be too far for thee, then thou shalt kill of thy herd and of thy flock which Yahweh have given thee as I command thee, and thou shalt eat it in thy gates whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. Even as the roebuck, the hart, and the hart is eaten, so thou shalt eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. That's how you know this is not talking about the Passover, and this it can't be the Passover, because we know clean people have to eat the Passover. But regular offerings that you just want to offer to the Most High, if it's too far, you can do it at home. He says, only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. All right. That's plain. Thou shalt not eat it, thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Okay, so when we make blood pudding, that's off. All right. When our people are eating blood pudding, that's a sin against the Most High. He says, thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. Okay? Only thy holy things which thou hast and thy vows thou shalt take and go unto the place which Yahweh shall choose. It's another witness, you guys. This is what the third witness at least. Only thy holy things which thou hast and thy vows thou shalt take and go unto the place which Yahweh shall choose. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of Yahweh thy God. And the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of Yahweh thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. He says, observe and hear all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee. See that? Observe and do all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of Yahweh. Okay, that's keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. He's like, this is the statute, this is the ordinance, do it like that. When Yahweh thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them and dwellest in the land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. I think sorry, I think we ended at 29. Yes, that was the end of it, 29. When Yahweh thy God, wait, hold on. My bad, 28. All right, observe and hear all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of Yahweh thy God. All right. So where to keep the Passover? I think we're getting the hints, right? But just in case, we're gonna look at two more scriptures on it. Deuteronomy 16. Give me Deuteronomy 16, brother Chris, please.
In what verse?
1 second. I'll let you know. Let me just get there.
My fault, Aki. If you need me to jump back in there, I can.
It's all good. Yeah, hit me with the you're gonna hit me with the 2 Kings chapter 23 after this one. So let me get that verse 2 and then verse 5 and 6 in Deuteronomy 16, brother Chris.
Okay, this is Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse number 2. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto Yahweh, thy Elohim, of the flock and the herd, in the place which Yahweh shall choose to place his name there.
That's plain. Sacrifice the Passover in the place where the Most High choose to put his name there. All right. Hit me with 5 and 6.
Verse number 5. Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates.
Uh-oh. Hold up. Don't kill the lamb at your house. Go ahead.
Which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee.
Right.
But at the place which Yahweh thy Elohim shall choose to place his name in, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt.
Come on, man. That's plain. At the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. That's the time, right? I gotta get this down. This is dope. Hold up. Right? This is a good precept for when that Passover is kept. At the season you came out of Egypt. That's plain. Right? Okay.
Yeah, it's the spring.
Yeah. You came out in the first month.
The first
right?
month. Yeah.
14th day of the Shabbat. 14th day at even. You got the hell out of there. Well, I don't remember if it was the 14th day that we left. Don't quote me on that. But that's when we have to sacrifice the Passover. We know that for sure. Right? Okay. You just read 6, right?
Yes, 5 and 6.
Right. So the place that the Most High choose to place his name there, that's where you're supposed to kill the Passover. Now give me 2 Kings 23.
Con, what verse?
Uh let's hit 20 and 21.
Con, it's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 23 and verse 20. And he slew all the priests of the high places that were upon the altars, and burned men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem.
Hold up. So this is one of our brothers who had tricked the sorry, somebody said something? Okay, I thought someone said something. Let's see. This is Josiah, all right? This is brother Josiah cleaning up our nation. And it says he slew all the priests of the high places that were there upon the altars. He burned their bones. Okay, the men he slew, he burned these are Israelites, eh? He burned their bones on the altars of their false gods. And when he finished with that, in Samaria, okay, when he finished with that, and you can get that in verse 19, he returned to Jerusalem. And then what?
Verse 21. And the king commanded all the people, saying, Keep the Passover unto the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of this covenant.
So when he made this announcement, where was he? Verse 20.
He was had returned to Jerusalem.
Right. And verse 22 says,
Surely there was not holding such a Passover from the days of the judges that judged Israel, nor in all the days of the kings of Israel, nor of the kings of Judah.
right. So the Most High is telling you that was the most awesome Passover, right? That was held, right? There was none like this one. So when you start to see things in this one, hey, this is the ordinance. This is how it's supposed to be done. Because the Most High said this was the baddest one. Go ahead.
Verse 23. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was holden to the Lord in Jerusalem.
Where was it held?
In Jerusalem.
It was held in Jerusalem. According in verse 21, as it is written in the book of this covenant, it was held in Jerusalem. So, where to keep the Passover? And the place that the Most High choose to put his name there, the scripture tells us that it is Jerusalem, right? Okay, so if we're supposed to keep this Passover in Jerusalem, and specifically kill that lamb in Jerusalem, bring it and kill it on the altar, at the altar of the Most High, burn it on the altar of the Most High, and don't kill it at your house and all of these things. Well, why are we keeping a Passover in captivity, and we can't do all these specific ordinances of the Passover, right? Brother Chris, give me First Peter chapter 2. And give me from 1 all the way to 6. And Brother Lahag, give me Psalm 51 on deck, please.
Says Psalms 51.
Yeah, Psalms 51.
First Peter 2 and what?
From 1 to 6.
Okay. This is the book of First Peter chapter 2 and verse number 1. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby, if so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious.
Hold on, that the Lord is what?
If so be that the Lord is gracious.
Right, and he said, desire the sincere milk of the word, right? That food to eat, desire that food which is the word of the Most High. For what? For you to be able to grow with it, right? And desire that word if you have realized Yahweh is gracious, right? Or Yahweh Shai, this is talking about Yahweh Shai specifically. We know Yahweh is gracious, but this is specifically talking about Yahweh Shai being what? Gracious. Gracious, right? Which means very understanding. The scriptures calls Yahweh Shai very pitiful, right? The man's very understanding of the conditions of his people, right? Of the mental states of his people, of their efforts to be righteous. He's very pitiful, very compassionate, because he became a man. As a God, he became a man. Go ahead.
Verse number 4. To whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of Yahweh and precious.
Right.
Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Yahweh by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach.
So this is very important. The Most High chose a place to put his name there. It was a temple. Well, it was a city. And in that city, the sacrifices were done in the temple. The physical sacrifices were done in the temple. The brother Peter says, you came to Yahweh Shai, who is the cornerstone, and you came as a living stone. Right? You came to Yahweh Shai, the cornerstone, a living stone, right? That was chosen by the Most High and precious. And you also, just like living stones, are built up a spiritual house. what is the spiritual house another name for, brothers?
The temple.
The temple at which you're supposed to offer the sacrifices of the Most High God. You also, right, as the holy priesthood of the Most High, have been built up to be a spiritual house, a spiritual temple, right, to be able to offer up spiritual sacrifices in place of the physical sacrifices that are acceptable. So don't have no doubt in your mind. Your spiritual sacrifices are acceptable to the Most High by Hamashiach Yahushua, because his blood and his perfection makes it acceptable. You never have to kill another lamb again because the real lamb died already. So now your spiritual sacrifices are acceptable unto Yahweh, right? Because that lamb died once and never have to die again. Read on.
Verse number 6. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture,
Okay.
behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone,
Uh-huh.
elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded.
So stop right there. The man say, therefore, also it's contained right in the word of the Most High that he lay a chief cornerstone. That is an elect stone and it's precious. It's a chief cornerstone. What is a chief cornerstone there for? To build the rest of the house on top of it.
It's the foundation, basically, right?
It's not only is it the foundation, it's the freaking corner of the foundation. It makes sure that everything is built correctly, right? It said, hey, listen, man, I have this chief cornerstone, right? It's elect. The stone is precious. Hey, and if you believe on that cornerstone, that lamb, that sacrifice, you can't be confounded. You will not be put to shame. So when you stand before the Most High and you say, hey, Pop, you know what? I never killed no lamb in my house, and I didn't try and go to Jerusalem to kill no lamb because I believe in Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is a lamb. He died for me. His blood is shed. So I don't have to do that again, right? I believe in Yahweh Shai and that he was that ultimate sacrifice once for all time. And you know what Dad gonna say? Check, and you're good. You know. Um, I think that is all. Read 7 and 8 as well.
Verse number 7. Unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient,
Right.
the stone which the builder is disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner.
Right.
And a stone of stumbling,
Huh.
and a rock of offense,
Right.
even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient.
Stop right
Whereunto,
there. Stop right there. The Most High say Yahweh Shai is a stumbling block to those who stumble at the word of God. Being disobedient. This is very important. God said, do not kill the lamb in nowhere but the temple. The Most High say, don't kill the lamb in nowhere but the temple. Don't just do what you feel like. He said, bring it to Jerusalem and kill the lamb there. You can't go to Jerusalem. You have the temple where the lively stones, but you can't go to Jerusalem. So he said, don't kill the lamb at your yard. Right? So obey the Most High. Offer the spiritual sacrifices, right? He said, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed, right? So they were appointed to be disobedient, and that's why they're doing it. Nothing you can do about that. But read verse 9.
Verse number 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a
Mm-hmm.
royal priesthood,
Mm-hmm.
a holy nation, a
Mm-hmm.
peculiar people,
Mm-hmm.
that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light,
You see that? And read verse 10.
which in times past were not a people, but are now the people of Yahweh, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
Right. So that's it, right? Man, read 11 because that starts to give you a hint of the spiritual sacrifices. Go ahead.
Verse number 11. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust, which war against the soul.
Right. So this begins to give you some insight on the spiritual sacrifices. Abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. Hold on to righteousness. That's what the Most High is telling you, right? Let that be the thing that you hold on to. I will back that. Let me get Psalm 51, brother.
Con, I'm here. What verse you need?
Uh, Hold on, let me just get the Psalm 51 right quick. Psalm 51.
7.
I think 16 and 17. Is that 51? Yeah. I want 16 and 17.
Con. Psalm 51, verse 16, and it reads, For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings.
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Is the Passover killing of the lamb a sacrifice?
Con,
Is it a burnt offering?
con,
And the brother David, a prophet, a man that went off once, right? The Most High said the man only went off in the matter of the man's wife. That's it. After besides that, David was a man after his own heart. And David said, I mean, David's so great, the Most High established the kingdom in David's seat and tribe. The Most High, and David said, hey, listen, the Most High not looking for no sacrifice, you know. He's not looking for no burnt offerings, you know, right? What's the sacrifices of the Most High? Those spiritual sacrifices we just started to get a hint of and read about.
con.
What are they?
Passover.
No, no, no. Bring out the script.
Oh, you want 16 again?
Oh, no, I want 17 as well, brother. Sorry.
Oh, so like it. So like it. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. O God, thou wilt not despise.
See that? The sacrifices of Yahweh are a broken spirit, man. A broken and contrite heart he will not despise. What does that mean? Yo, the sacrifices of the Most High is a humble spirit. Yeah? A submissive spirit, right? A humble spirit and a submissive spirit, the Most High will not despise. If you're humble and you're submissive to the Most High, what you're going to do? You're going to keep God's commandments. That's always been the problem with the Most High's desire for Israel. The Most High's desire for Israel has always been just keep the commandments. Keep the commandments, people. Stop bringing your sheep to sacrifice, right? And counting, okay, for me to do this, I'm not gonna use adultery. For me to pay back, for me to steal this man one ox is gonna cost me. That's a bad example. I can't come up with a specific example right on the fly. But we would be thinking, yo, listen, for me to do this sin, it's gonna cost me one sheep, one good sheep. So you know what I'm gonna do? I have a sheep there. It's not the best sheep, but it's a sheep. So I'm gonna do that sin. Then one time I'm gonna bring that sheep and I'll be good still. The sheep's gonna die, I won't die. And we go do the sin and just bring the sheep. Any sheep. And the priest would take it because they were slacking off as well and just damn kill that, throw that on. Yeah, we good. Gangster. That was not gangster, man. The Most High wasn't dealing with that, man. The Most High wanted us to obey. I got a precept on that. Right? This is First Samuel. One sec. It's First Samuel 15. Oh my gosh. See what we got here. Okay, let's just go here. First Samuel 15. First Samuel 15. First Samuel 15. I'll read from 21. It says, "But the people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed." Because the Most High had sent, if I remember correctly, Saul to war against Amalek and to kill every last one of them. All right. And Saul disobeyed, and for this the Most High took the kingdom from him. He said, I'm taking the kingdom from your hand because I told you what to do and you didn't do it. This is how grave of a sin disobedience is to the Most High. Says the people took the spoil of the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed. So the best, right? To sacrifice unto Yahweh thy God in Gilgal. Okay. So this is Saul explaining himself to Samuel. And Samuel said, have Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? You hear that? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams, man. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and the Most High says, suffer not a witch to live, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, man. You're worshiping another God when you're disobeying God. We looked at this many times before, but this is a serious thing. And he says, because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh. Didn't the New Testament just said they stumble at the word, being disobedient? Here's a precept showing you. You gotta obey the word. Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he has also rejected you from being king. And we're a nation of kings and priests. So let's not be rejected by the Most High by being disobedient to his laws, statutes, and commandments. So I think we'll pull up there for today. Next Shabbat, we'll look at the second part, right, which talks about how to eat the Passover, singing for the Passover, Passover blessings, and Passover secrets. as well, right? And then we'll have a conclusion and a couple other things, Passover freedoms and a couple other things. So we'll look at that next week, Lord willing, but we'll wrap up here for today and kind of open up the line, for questions and all of those good things. Right. So that's all I got for you guys today. All praise to the Most High. Let's open up the lines.